Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today when I am filming this, it is officially the first day of fall. So you might be thinking to yourself that it is a little strange that on the first day of fall, I am filming a video about sunscreen because normally we associate summer and sunscreen together. Come fall and winter, I think many of us, myself included, get a little more lax in thinking about applying sunscreen, but actually it is just as important to continue wearing sunscreen throughout the year. Now for me personally, one of the reasons during fall and winter when I don't love to apply it is because usually I am putting a medium to full coverage foundation over that sunscreen. So I find that the formulation of the sunscreen is even more critical in the fall and winter than it is in the summer. In the summertime, I can get away with a CC cream or a tinted BB cream. If I apply sunscreen, sometimes I'm wearing a more sheer foundation over it. So I don't feel like the formulation of the sunscreen is as important or makes that big of a difference in my makeup as it does in the fall and winter. So today I have picked 6 sunscreens that I think particularly work well with foundation over them. Now I am a kind of more combination skin type in the more mature skin category. I'm in my 40s. So the sunscreens that I have chosen definitely work if you have combination to oily skin. Now, for those of you who have dry skin, don't fear. There are a couple of sunscreens that will work for you as well, and I'll point those out along the way. Now, all of the sunscreens I am sharing with you today are mineral-based sunscreens. Those I have found work best for me and my super sensitive skin. And what that just basically means is they're providing a physical barrier against the harmful rays of the sun. And several of them also are protecting you against the harmful blue light that we are getting from all of our devices as well. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first product. And this is a product that you have seen me use before in my AM and PM skincare routine, and that's the BareMinerals Prep Step. This is still not easily available here in the US, but you can order it through lookfantastic.com. It is SPF 50. And what I love most about this is that it is a concentrated sunscreen that you can mix with your foundation. You can apply it just on its own, or you can mix it with your face moisturizer, and that's what I do. So this is perfect if you've got dry skin and you have a favorite moisturizer. You can use that moisturizer and put a couple of drops of this in it, and then you've got your sunscreen and your moisturizer all in one step. It starts off white, but it has those skin changing pigments in it. So you can see once you blend it into the skin and it meshes, I don't know if it's the heat of your skin, but it changes to your skin tone, and I do not find that this leaves a white cast for me. And because that one blends so well into my face moisturizer, I do not feel like it changes the performance of any of my foundations that I have used on top of it. Next up, we have one that I discovered this summer, and it is the Botanical Sunscreen Face. This is by Australian Gold, and it is mineral lotion. It's non-greasy, says antioxidant rich UVA UVB protection, and this is SPF 50. Now it's important, this is the tinted version. When I was looking this up, Ulta is where I purchased this, and I found there is a non-tinted version that a lot of people did not like because that left a white cast. But this one is tinted. It's not enough to where I'm gonna wear it on its own without foundation, unless I'm just going for a walk or something like that. But it just has a hint of tint, which I think keeps it from giving you that white cast. But this one is pretty amazing. It soaks into the skin almost immediately, and it does leave your skin with almost like a demi-matte finish. If you're like me and you have a combination skin type, you will particularly love the fact that you can add this underneath kind of a slightly dewier foundation, and it's not going to make it look extra oily or extra greasy. And in fact, I have found this to help give a little more longevity to some of those foundations. And it is super affordable, so definitely highly recommend this. The next sunscreen is one that I love particularly either on its own or underneath a powder foundation like one from BareMinerals. If you saw my BareMinerals, I think it was the One Brand tutorial, I used this sunscreen and it's by COTZ and it is an all-natural mineral-based sunscreen. This is SPF 40. This also is the tinted version. It just says sheer matte mineral sunscreen, and this is supposed to be the healthier sunscreen. So it's also advertised as a facial primer, and that is why I particularly like this one under powder foundations, because this one definitely has a silicone base to it. So as you're rubbing it into your skin, you can feel that silicone aspect characteristic to it, which it works under foundation if you have a silicone foundation, a silicone-based foundation. But that's not my favorite type of foundation to use. I do have some that have a silicone in them, but it's kind of really low on the ingredients. But I find this particular formula works really well under a powder foundation, especially a loose powder foundation. So you can see I've got it blended in there. It makes the skin just look and feel super smooth, and that little bit of tint helps just provide a little bit of coverage, and then you don't have to use quite as much of your powder foundation. Again, this is SPF 40, and I should mention both this one and the Australian Gold, both of these are water resistant for up to 80 minutes. So that is also another thing to keep in mind. But again, in the fall and winter, I'm not doing a whole lot of swimming. It's more just day to day, but it's just an important note to know that these are also going to also work for you as you go into the summer. The next sunscreen is by the brand Colorescience, and I've heard a lot of great, amazing things about this brand. So I was thrilled when Colorescience gifted both this and their powder sunscreen to me to test out. And so I've been trying this one out and just kind of seeing how it compares to the others. Now, initially, when I first saw this and I saw the bottle and I saw the formulation of it, it really reminded me of the BareMinerals Prep Step. But the formulation is completely different. So it is SPF 50. It is water resistant up to 40 minutes, water sweat resistant up to 40 minutes. Now, because I've never actually shown this one on my channel, I thought this would be a good one to demonstrate for you. So I'm going to show you applying this to my face this morning. So all that I have on my face at this point is just my Now hyaluronic acid serum. This formula is pretty liquidy, but it's not quite as liquidy as the BareMinerals Prep Step. And you will also notice it comes out a peachy tone right away. So it doesn't have like those skin shifting pigments in it, but it blends into the skin. Now it has just a little more tackiness to it. And so initially, as I'm blending this in, you can see it kind of seems to pull just a little bit, but basically it's just soaking immediately into the skin. Once it's blended in, you will see that my skin has a nice, just slightly satiny finish, but it's not overly dewy, it's not greasy, and I don't feel like it emphasizes any extra skin texture or pores or anything that I have on my face. Now, the first time that I ever applied this, I was a little bit taken aback by the kind of almost tacky grip that this has. And so I thought, oh no, maybe I should have applied moisturizer first. So the next day I applied my full dollop of moisturizer first, then applied this, and holy moly, I had way too much moisturizer on my skin that day. So what I learned with this is if you're a combination oily skin type, I think this is going to be enough moisturizer for you. Now, on days when I'm wearing maybe a more mattifying foundation, I would mix just a tiny little bit of moisturizer with a full dollop of this, and that was kind of the perfect amount that my face needed. If you're a drier skin type, you can definitely use this, but I would recommend putting on your full moisturizer first and then adding this. This does have hydrating and antioxidant rich ingredients, but personally, I don't think that a dry skin type is going to find this enough hydration for you. But overall, this has been a really good sunscreen. I have found it to work under multiple different kinds of foundations as I've been testing it out. And very importantly, it has not broken out my sensitive skin. So another really good sunscreen. Now my last two sunscreens, as I mentioned up front, I have some powder sunscreens. So since we're talking about Colorescience, I'm gonna start there. They have a powder sunscreen, and this has gotten all kinds of awards, and I've seen so many people talk about this. So what this is in the bottom you can see the powder, and it is kind of an all-in-one type of sunscreen that you can throw in your purse and take with you. Now, probably, if you're like me, you might be asking yourself, why would I want to take sunscreen with me on the go? Well, as we have all heard preached so many times to us by dermatologists and experts, that you're to reapply sunscreen throughout the day. Well, how do you do that when you've got a full face of foundation on, right? Well, for me personally, this is the only way that I like to add sunscreen on top of my foundation, and that is with a powder sunscreen. So this first one that I'm talking about, this one actually comes in a very travel-friendly format. It has its own brush on the top, the sunscreen's on the bottom, and this took me a little bit to try and figure out how to actually get the powder to start coming through the brush. I finally watched the video and it was pretty simple. So basically what you do is with the lid on, you turn it upside down, you're gonna tap it on a hard surface, especially initially to get it going. Then you're gonna take off the lid, pull down the cover there, and make sure that there's a powder puff that comes out. That means that the sunscreen has come up into the brush, and then you simply brush it all over your face. These bristles have antimicrobial properties, so it's not gonna get all gross and germy while you're using it. That's something I think about. But this is SPF 50, and it does come in, let me see, how many shades does it come in? It comes in 4 shades. So it's semi-translucent, but there's a hint of some color in it. So therefore, it is good if you're of a medium to deeper skin tone. You're not going to want to get the fair one for sure. But it doesn't, I don't feel like it really alters the look of your foundation. And like I said, you can throw this in your purse if you're out and about. What happens for me when I like to do this is maybe I didn't plan on being outside all day, or maybe I didn't apply sunscreen because I was going to be home all day, and then somebody calls or I have to go walk a dog or something, and I'm thinking, oh no, I need to add some sunscreen. I can just pull this out and quickly buff it all over the face. So this is a really great formula. Again, this is SPF 50, and it does say it is also water resistant for 40 minutes. So another great property for this powder sunscreen. Now the last sunscreen is one that I have used for years, and basically since it came out, and this is the BareMinerals Original Mineral Veil SPF 25. So it doesn't have quite the level of sun protection that this one does, but I used this, oh dear, how many years ago? 4 or 5 years ago when I was at the lake with my cousin. This was my sunscreen because at the time I did not have a wonderful sunscreen, like a liquid form sunscreen that I really loved. So I was diligent about continuing to buff this on my face every couple hours. I was the only one of our entire group that did not get burned. So powder sunscreens absolutely work. You do just need to make sure that you apply enough. So this one is not quite as travel friendly as the Colorescience because you have to bring your own separate brush, but I've done it and it works fine. It can be done. So, but overall, I think if you have been in a quandary of how to reapply sunscreen protection throughout the day, this, in my opinion, is your best solution. All right, guys, so that wraps up this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. If you have been hunting to find your perfect sunscreen formulation, hopefully I gave you some new options to check into and hopefully gave you enough information to know which one might work perfectly for your skin type, tone, and just for your needs of what you need in a sunscreen. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.